Welcome to Home Run Great Client Experiences, a podcast by NFM Lending. I'm your host, Gene DePaula. On this podcast, we like to highlight great customer experiences within the mortgage industry, and we have a great one today. With us today is happy client Antinia Myers. Welcome, Antinia.
Thanks for having me.
And from NFM Lending Branch Manager from the South New Jersey area, Ron Gosewisch. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you, Dan.
I'd like to start out with Antinia and talk about your experience working with NFM Lending. Now, like I said, we like to highlight great customer experiences within the mortgage industry, but sometimes a great experience started with a not so great experience. Antinia, you were working with a lender. You had a house in mind. It was actually right next to your sister's house. Tell us about your not so great experience that kind of led you to reaching out to Ron and NFM Lending.
Well, it all started in August when we were on family vacation. My brother-in-law called and said that the house on the corner is for sale. And so what happened was in May, we were all together. And he said, would I move because the house behind them was for sale? I said, no, the only way I would move here if it's that blue house came up for sale. So that was May. So in August, my brother-in-law called, interrupted our family vacay and said, guess what? The Sweeneys are selling their house. So when we came back from vacation, the daughter was there with the parents. So I went in to see the house because my brother-in-law told the Sweeneys that I was interested. So they never put it on the market because we were interested. So when I saw the house, it was fully furnished. And I said, I'm interested. So I called my husband, let him know. So he said, sure, go for it. And so we went for it. So we contacted a lender. And so he told us everything that was entailed. He asked for information. First, they did a background check and credit and all of that to see if we qualified. So we did qualify. So he said, okay, he'd get back to us. He never got back to us. A week later, we reached out again and said, well, what's the process? He had the nerve to ask for the paperwork all over again. So I was floored. Then I said to him, well, they want to close early. They want to close sometime in November. So he said, okay, no problem. So he said he had the paperwork again. So we waiting again. And so then we asked him about the first-time home buyers credit and about New Jersey, what they're offering first-time home buyers. He said, well, if you do it that way, it's going to take a long time. It takes a month. New Jersey has to approve it. So then we said, okay, then we went another route. So the route that he was taking us through, he sent us an estimate and it was like a lot of money. So with no credits, with nothing. So then my sister said, no, don't do that. Ask him about certain things. We asked him and it was like, he wasn't even paying attention to us because every time I reached out to him, he gave us another story about something else. And so then I got annoyed and I said, you know what, let me take a step back. So we asked our realtor to ask the Sweeneys for more time. So they gave us more time. They extended it to December. So then we reached out to him again and said, since they extended it, now we would like to go for the first-time home buyers credit. We don't want to do the conventional loan. That's when he said, well, it's going to take 30 days and you're in a rush. So we said, okay, if we lose the house, we'll wait the 30 days because we want to save the money. We're first-time home buyers. So then another 2 weeks passed. He had the nerve to email me for W-2 forms. And I was like, wait a minute, we're supposed to close in December. That's when I called Ron's company just for advice and information. So then Ron said to me, Antinia, give me your information. And he got back to me, no kidding, within 30 minutes to let me know we didn't even qualify for the New Jersey loans because we had too much money in the bank. So if Ron found out that for us in 30 minutes, why was this guy telling me it was going to take a month? So then I got a little suspicious. And so then Ron offered to look at my paperwork for me. He didn't even say that he would do anything. He just offered. So I gave him everything. And he said, Anthony, I can have you closed in 2 weeks. And let me tell you, that man had me closed in 2 weeks because I had all the documents already. because we had already sent it to the other person. And in 2 weeks, we had the keys. And guess what? It was on January 31st, the anniversary of my mother's death. So it was an emotional day for me because it took a long time for this process to happen. And NFM Lending, I mean, they were great. They were phenomenal. Everyone who reached out to me got back to me. Because I was so afraid of what happened with the first person, I was a little kind of shaky and leery and wary, but the process was so smooth. I mean, I would recommend their company to anyone. And because of my trauma, they really held my hand through the process. And every question that I asked that I might have thought was crazy, they did it. You know, they made me feel secure. They made me feel confident in them as a company. And they have proved true to be who they really are. So it was just a wonderful experience with them.
Amazing. That sounds great. So Ron, I know that this probably happens pretty frequently. You have someone call you, they've been dealing with another lender. Maybe it wasn't the greatest experience, or maybe they just want to get a second opinion.
Yeah, Gene, all the time. I think Antinia got my information through the state of New Jersey. We're a proponent of that program, of the first-time homebuyer program. We've been a strong believer in that program for several years, and we partner with the state of New Jersey to offer the program to whoever qualifies for it. But in Antonia's case, there's just certain qualifiers that we look at for that program, that it's income, asset, credit, that, unfortunately just is what it is. They're very hard rules, and you either qualify for it or you don't. So it took us 2 seconds once we talked about assets to figure out that, you didn't qualify for a good reason. You just had too much money. But Antinia had everything for us immediately. It makes the process so much easier. So Antinia was a rock star throughout the process. She constantly was on top of everything and communicated with us. And that's really all we asked. So yeah, Gene, I mean, we run into this all the time where someone comes to us, whether they're upset with the prior lender, or they were told they were not qualified, or they were qualified, or they don't. So yeah, it happens all the time. So to just see it through and see this this finished product, that absolutely love it. Absolutely, it makes me very happy.
Can I add one more thing?
Please. Yeah.
Even though I didn't qualify for the New Jersey credits, you guys found me a credit, and we were very happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of those things where if it doesn't work one way, a lot of times there's another way to do it. So yeah, and it has everything to do with the qualifications, but there's just a million different products out there, and it's just a matter of fitting it into the right situation. So yeah, no, I'm glad that worked out for you.
And I was just going to ask about that too. So Ron, you got her a grant through HUD. How does that work?
Yeah, so HUD, it's kind of a experimental project that they're doing where they picked 12 lenders. NFM just happens to be one of them, and it's kind of it's a give back from HUD and from the lender to give incentives to first-time home buyers that meet the requirements. You have to be a first-time home buyer, you have to meet some income requirements, but in this case, they don't have any asset requirements. So it was a perfect scenario. So in this case, we were able to contribute along with HUD to help Antinia. I think it was a total of $3,000.
It's important for people to know what the state is offering. So it's important to use lenders that the state qualifies.
Yeah, we hear over and over again how important it is to use a local lender. And this is another example of that. And honestly, there's a laundry list of reasons why you want to use a local lender. We won't get into all of them here, but this is just one example. Antinia, you mentioned to me about how great the communication was with Ron and his team. Can you go into that a little bit more?
Yes, because of being paranoid about the first lender, like each step, I had questions, I had emails. So he would say to me, Anthony, I have a team. Like he said, if I don't get back to you, someone else on my team would. And that was the truth. It's like I had reservations about certain things. His team got back to me. They helped me go through the process when I wasn't sure about certain verbiage. They made sure that that my wording was eloquent, that things that I needed to write, they helped me out with that to make sure that, that I would qualify. And so they helped me through every process, even late at night. I called after 7 p.m. and someone still got back to me. It's like every hurdle that I thought was a hurdle, because they're so familiar with the process, they just talk me off the cliff each time.
We want everyone to feel like you're the only borrower that we're dealing with, the only buyer that you're dealing with, because although there might be mayhem behind the scenes with other files, that doesn't matter to you. It's your dream home. You're moving next to your family. It's important to you. So that's what we want to make you feel. So it's awesome to hear that that's how you felt, because that's our goal every day, is to make you feel here for you, whether it's 7 o'clock at night or whether it's 7 o'clock in the morning. A lot of times you're able to communicate with us when you're not working, and that means that it's not 8 to 5. So we understand that, and we try to make ourselves available as quickly as possible.
Antonia, now that you are in your new house, how are you loving it?
Oh, I am loving it so much. It's a wonderful feeling to have something that you own, because I'm in my 60s. We've been renters all our life. This is our first home. This is our first time owning property. And so now I get to experience what people say, girl, you need to buy your own house. And I'm like, no, we're good. We'll rent. But I'm glad that we took this step and did this process, because it's wonderful now to have something that we call our own.
Well, that's so great to hear. And thank you so much for your time today, both of you. Just another example of great customer service and really helping someone, no matter where they are in life, achieve the dream of home ownership. So thank you both again.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Home Run Great Client Experiences, a podcast by NFM Lending. I've been your host, Gene DePaula. Thanks for listening. Home Run Great Client Experiences is a production of NFM TV and NFM Inc. NFM Inc. does business as NFM Lending, NMLS number 2893. Ron Gosewisch's NMLS number is 210533. This podcast is for informational purposes only. Contact NFM Lending directly to learn more about our mortgage programs and your eligibility for such programs. The experiences of clients appearing on this podcast are individual experiences of those who have used our services. NFM does not provide incentives for testimonials or reviews. This is not a credit decision or a commitment to lend. Eligibility is subject to completion of an application and verification of homeownership, occupancy, title, income, employment, credit, home value, collateral, and underwriting requirements. NFM is not affiliated with or an agent or division of a governmental agency or depository institution. Copyright 2024.